Hey there again, folks. Welcome back to my Let's Play of Remember11, The Age of Infinity. The last time, Kokoro gave Yomogi... Wait, no, Kokoro didn't. Satoru gave Yomogi and Uni a bit of a show. Then went back to Sophia. He's alive, and read Kokoro's message to him. So, let's see about getting on the case and see about finding stuff, which will probably take us about 50 episodes. She hadn't drawn anything this time either. I guess he probably felt a little bit bad about criticizing her artistic abilities the time before. So, with her writing with her right hand, he was wanting to be like, "Oh, this paint, this drawing, it's so beautiful. I mean, she's so heroic by drawing it with her hand after being injured." I was kind of hoping that she would, so I actually felt a little disappointed. That aside, I should write her a reply before it's too late. I grabbed the pen and faced the white notepad. Kokoro, this is sort of sudden, but do you know where the highest mountain on the planet is? It's on the border of Nepal and Tibet. Elevation 8850 meters. It goes without saying that I'm talking about Everest. Well then, on the other hand, where do you think the deepest point on the planet is? In this case, the deepest point on the planet means the lowest place a flesh and blood human can reach. In other words, not an ocean trench, but somewhere underground. You know where it is? The correct answer is in the Republic of South Africa. In a deep level gold mine, there exists the deepest hole in the world. Its depth is 300. Good grief. Let's talk here. 3,580 meters. But you know what? I just found a place that's even deeper than that. Inside my heart. I'm so thankful to a girl named Fuyakawa Kokoro. This thankfulness is even deeper than that deep level mine. And at the same time, I'm so moved it hurts. The feelings in my heart climb higher than Everest. In other words, if the feelings in my heart were to be converted into units of distance, they'd surely reach far above 12,430 meters high. That's around how grateful I am to you right now. Sheesh. What are you saying? If the mountain was a meter higher, you'd be like, I'm almost as grateful as the highest mountain. If you'd done just a little bit more, you'd have made that last meter. But no. Of course, I'm talking about how you safely got away from the culprit who's after me. Thank you very much, Kokoro. Because I'm a scientific person by nature, I can't think of the right words to express myself, but far above 12,430 meters. If my feelings can be transmitted through this numerical value, there's nothing more I desire. It is nice of them to say. I'm definitely going to poke fun of them for putting it that way. Of course, feel free to poke fun of anything weird I say. I mean, this game, my commentary, hopefully, is for entertainment purposes. Hopefully you're not watching this for scientific purposes, because I would have doomed the world. I'd be scared. You should be too. Well then, no matter how many words I string together, it won't be enough to tell you how thankful I am, but there's something else important that I have to tell you. I have no idea when we'll transfer again after all. I apologize, but I'll be changing the subject to my reply from here on. By somebody, who did I mean? I put in the voice recorder too, but I don't know. My answer is that I don't know. Except I don't think it's Uni. I don't have any proof or anything, but I can't even imagine Uni being the one that's after me. I think I can exclude Sumi-san as a suspect based on my personal impression of her. In her case, I'm especially doubtful since her speech and conduct aren't the least bit suspicious. Except for that time she's really grumpy and I thought she shot somebody. But, other than that, doubtful. Yeah, she had a pretty grumpy face. Of course, I mean, I guess she could have a reason though. Keiko was having a bit of a fit, so I mean, yeah. It could be understandable that Itsumi had a very grumpy face. The last one is Hotori. I'm hesitant to talk about her in black and white. Just as you wrote, she was the culprit at the Awazumi incident after all. Even if the Hotori personality is uninvolved, there's another, more ferocious personality lurking within her. You can probably say that the probability is high. It wouldn't be going overboard to give a warning. Indeed, that's true. Why do you think that someone's after you? Now that you mention it, I haven't told you the details yet, huh? I was on the clock tower when I was first attacked. I was pushed off it by someone. Thankfully, my injuries weren't too bad, but if I'd landed the wrong way, I might have died. I don't know whether the culprit intended to kill me then, but they at least did it with the goal of hurting me in mind. After falling from the clock tower, I lost consciousness. When you woke up at Sphia, it was probably a few hours afterward. The next time they came after me, I was in the bathroom. While I was in the bath, someone tried drowning me by plunging my head into the water. And after writing this, I realized something.
そうだよ。心はこの時のことを知ってるはずじゃないか。
Kokoro had seen the killer. No, wait. Kokoro had asked in her message, what do you mean by somebody? As though she hadn't the slightest idea. In other words, she didn't see the culprit after all. That is, everything took place while she was asleep after taking the pill. Is that it? At any rate, I've got to ask her. Okay, is that why you die if you don't take the pill? I'm going to casually kill you while you're unconscious. If you were awake for this, I'd be a little bit more hardcore. But I'm going to casually try to drown you. Is that what? Is that why you lose? It's kind of strange. I once again turned to the notepad. Hey, Kokoro. Do you know who the culprit is? Please tell me in detail what it was that happened then. I'm begging you. Sorry the conversation changed direction a bit. Well, that's it for now. The clock tower, the bathroom, and the left arm being cut. These three things happening in succession meant that someone is after me. More specifically, someone is after my life. About Sophia, is there any way to leave, or are there any means to communicate with the outside? It's hard for me to say, but the answer to both questions is probably no. If my memory is correct, there shouldn't be any way to leave or communicate with the outside world. I can't say this for certain because right now I'm a little amnesic from the fall. I more or less remember Sophia, but it might be that there's something I'm forgetting. I apologize for only being able to respond with such irresponsibly unhelpful answers. If I remember anything, I'll tell you right away. You know, for the next time you transfer. About the shelter cabin, did anything important happen? I don't think there have been any big changes. Nomogi and Uni are just lazing around, laid back, playing land on the landing strip or something. Only Lynn is emotionally unstable, but that's normal for her. There isn't really anything important that I have to tell you at the moment. With that ends my replies to the questions you've asked me, Kokoro. I've answered everything that was in my scope of knowledge. After that, there's the timing of our transfers. Thanks, you saved my life. Thanks to that, I now know that the transfer times I recorded in yours are more or less the same. Tentatively, the transfer times I've checked go something like this. 1:07 p.m. transferred to shelter cabin. 1:40 returned to Sophia. 6:03 p.m. transferred to shelter cabin. p.m. returned to Sophia. Okay, don't know. 7:33 transferred to shelter cabin. 8:03 returned to Sophia. Please don't mind the blank there in the fourth one. At that time, I was in the dark, running away from someone with a knife. I didn't have the opportunity to check the time. Hey, killer, wherever you're at. Give me a second. I gotta check my watch. Okay, you can keep chasing me now. I don't know yet whether there's a rule about the timing of the transfers. The only thing I can say for sure is that you and I both transfer into each other's bodies at the same time. With that, please continue checking the time from here on out too. It's not like we have a big sample to work with after all. It looks like we've already dealt with sample. And lastly, about your body. Don't worry. Protected no matter what. I take it upon myself to always repay favors. And moreover, Kokoro and I have a connection that can't be severed even if somebody tries to cut it. Just noticed it now, but it seems that I, without you, am just me. Either way, the fact that I'm me doesn't change, but even so, when you're there, I feel like I can be more like myself. There's a 4-character Chinese aphorism that goes like that. Do you know it? Seki Jukansei. Red accepts blue entirely is what it means. Maybe I've been trapped by that phenomenon myself. Of course, it's because you're here and that this phenomenon came into existence in the first place, though. Sorry, that was a little much, huh? Anyway, I definitely won't let you die no matter what. Probably won't let you die. So try to relax somehow. Believe in me. I'll multiply my 12,430 meters worth of appreciation and pay it all back to you. That's right. There's one last thing I want to say. It might be rude to say something like this, but Kokoro's drawing was the work of a prodigy. Well, then later. For being a smart guy, I don't think he knows what the word prodigy means. Later, I finished writing the message and decided to go to the dining area for dinner. I was incredibly hungry. I'd realized I hadn't eaten anything since this morning. In the end, I didn't even get that neither breakfast nor lunch that Asumi made. Which reminds me, I wonder what happened. While I was away from Spia, did Kokoro eat it for me? At any rate, that didn't change the fact that I was hungry. It's a strange scene title. Entering the dining area, I saw Hotori and Uni sitting in their usual places. On the table was a pot of beef stew with pure white steam billowing from it. Additionally, there was salad, bread, glasses of water, and tableware and cutlery. Asumi said the moment she saw me. Though disappointed, I calmly corrected. Asumi replied curtly, urging me to sit. I still think it'd be kind of a funny idea if Asumi were like, you know what, Yukido-san, Yukido-kun, I mean, crap, I got confused there. Here's a cow. When you're Yukido, please wear it forward. And tell your Kokoro self, whenever she's there, to turn around backwards. So we know which is which. We do this every single time. And seriously started to consider... Oh, well, that would be another solution, actually. I seriously started to consider putting on a name tag or something whenever I left my room. Actually, that would be a much simpler solution. Although I think it'd be funny if the illustration started having had a cow, either backwards or forwards one. You know, I don't think Satoru would pull off the backwards cow. Some people who can pull it off. I'm pretty sure I'm not one of them. With the 4 of us assembled at the table, dinner began. As their spoons traveled back and forth from mouth to plate, Semi, Hotori, and Uni used the interval between mouthfuls to chat. It's neither noisy nor quiet. A supremely ordinary mealtime. None of the topics of conversation stood out in particular. The main subject was the earthquake that had occurred at Spia. But since Kokoro had written about that in her message, I wasn't too surprised. I made the appropriate murmurs of agreement from time to time, along with the occasional forced smile, and thus was able to ignore their conversation pretty well. I had only one thing on my mind, the killer who'd slashed my left arm. It could very well be the case that the culprit is here among the 3 of them. I kept a close eye on the events going on around me as I ate, but nobody did anything suspicious, which means that the real culprit is someone else, lurking someplace unknown to us. I kept eating as I considered all those possibilities, so I don't actually remember how the meal tasted. Still, my hunger was out of control, so I consumed the beef stew in a flash. By the way, from listening to her conversation, I did pick up one thing. It appears that Hotori was the one who treated my arm. I was a little surprised, so Hotori had a gentle side like that after all. Before returning to my room, I tentatively decided to express my gratitude to her.
ありがとう、ホトリ。
In reply, she said,
お礼なんて言わなくていいよ。別に大したことしたわけじゃないんだから。
On returning to my room, I seated myself at the desk and reread the message from Kokoro one more time. It really is confusing that Hotori doesn't speak at all when Kokoro's there. Well, I mean, I guess what I'm saying is weird about it is that Sumi and Uni don't think it's weird that she changes really randomly. Suddenly talking to suddenly not talking. That's the part that's confusing to me. They're not like, oh, Hotori-chan, what do you think of that? Oh, you're in your not talking phase. Okay, cool. Gotcha. I'll ask you later. You know what I mean? I don't think there was any indication like that in Kokoro's route. I mean, I wasn't looking for it because I didn't think it was something to look for. But, yeah. There was only one part of it that troubled me. Because if that isn't so, I can't explain how Uni could exist as two people at the same time. Same time, Kokoro wrote at the same time. The meaning of that statement was plain to see. She probably still doesn't know it's 2012 in Sphere. She's under the impression that Sphere 2 exists in the year 2011 like the shelter cabin. I hesitated, should I reveal the truth to her or not? After going back and forth, I finally decided, cause if I don't, she'll find out that I'm from the year 2012. And if she does, I'm sure there will be all kinds of questions. What happened to Mount Akakura on January 17th, 2011? When that question comes up, how should I answer it? Well, according to historical record, you're going to die in 5 days. I can't say such a thing to her. That's why I decided to hide the problem from her. As well as the matter of the newspaper. Kokoro was just about to touch on the subject in her message, but I didn't comment on it. I didn't know how I should answer her. Same with the Uni case. She seems to be questioning why two Unis can exist at the same time. But in order to explain it, no matter what, I'd have to reveal to her that at Sphere, it's the year 2012. If possible, I wanted to keep her in an optimistic perspective of the situation. I didn't want her to know about the avalanche on the 17th. I can't saddle her with yet another burden. If it's just a matter of changing history, my own strength alone should be enough. That's what I decided. Casually, I glanced toward the window and the powdery snow dancing outside. The blizzard had stopped some time before. The incessant howling of the wind was gone, as though secretly snatched away. Having rested for a little while, I decided to leave the room. My goal, of course, was to search for the culprit. Is that what you call a proper investigation? It's not as if I wasn't scared of the killer, but what would wasting time in my room accomplish? I need to find out as much as I could. Opened the door and walked to the dining area. Before I could even think about whose room to start my search in, the figure of a lone girl entered my field of vision.
Hotori, そんなとこで何やってるんだ?
She was standing stock still near the table. An ashen shadow enveloped her. I felt as if I were viewing a faded out photograph.
どうしたんだよ?
I slowly drew closer to her. She didn't answer. Her head hung low. She was staring fixedly at the floor. Beside her feet lay a dark brown lump, dirtied all over. It was making weird twitching, squirming movements.
なんだこれ?
I bent closer and took a good hard look at the thing on the floor.
ネズミだ.
I could tell at a glance that it was on the verge of death. Its limbs were going into gruesome convulsions. Its eyes so hollow they could have rotted away. Its mouth flapped open and shut in a desperate attempt to breathe.
どうしてこんなところに?
I stood up and looked at her. Her face was dull and expressionless. Her like a flesh and blood human. Her eyes held no warmth. Her skin was as parched and lifeless as a sculpture carved from hard sand. It seemed like if I were to as much as touch her, her whole body would crack and crumble apart. At my feet, a rat lay on the verge of death, and beside it, a girl whose soul had vacated her body. Completely bewildered though I was, I
助けてやらないとな。
remembered that.
助ける
Hotori suddenly spoke.
ああ、そうだよ。だってこのままじゃきっと死んじまうと思うし。
Had no idea what she was thinking, but just then, without warning, Hotori grabbed the rat by its tail. And with all her strength, smashed it against the corner of the table. You? My heart stopped. Though I tried to say something, anything, I couldn't even breathe.
死んだわ
She muttered those two words, dangling the dead rat like a pendulum from her hand. Then, with no more care than you'd show an old rag, she casually tossed the body away. Her face warped into an expression of boredom.
お前。
Those words escaped my trembling throat, my voice hoarse. Victoria looked away from me, her lips forming a pout. An expression of complete unconcern. She was calm, as though nothing had happened. The rat now lay dead in the corner of the room, blood issuing from its mouth. It wasn't even convulsing anymore. The thing lying in that corner was no longer a living being. It had been reduced to a mere object, just a rat. But for some reason, I felt very sad. The corpse of the rat, lying miserably in the corner, seemed so pitiful to me.
かごめかごめ
Okay. Okay, good. I didn't want it to go skip to the next line. That's very strange. I was thinking it might have been the scene where she attacked. Like she attacked with a chair. I guess it still could be because we're not really done with that, but she's definitely acting very strange. I don't know if that's the Keiko personality or if it's or if it would just be another personality that is not very nice. I guess statistically speaking, I mean, there could be more than one not nice personality in her. Does she have 11? 11 would make sense because that's the name of the game. Remember 11. Anyway, we'll find out more about what's going to happen in the next episode. I do sincerely hope you guys enjoyed, and I shall see you in the next one. Farewell.